It is time for today's tax talk. Copy my book right there. That's not supposed to be up there. But anyway, welcome to today's tax talk. It is Thursday. Let's put this one up. It is Thursday, March 10th, year of our Lord 2022. Good thing the IRS keeps me in the news, right? All these new things going on. We've talked about the Surge 1, Surge 2. The IRS needs more money. They always need more money. We talked about the Build Back Better plan. And now the IRS comes out with another budget enhancement, the Boost. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? That ain't it. Good evening, everyone. It is time for today's tax talk. So let's get rid of that. Go. Oh, well, it looks like we're not going to do it today. Yeah, we are. Let's do it. There's lots to remember when you're producing the show. Lots to remember. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. So anyway, we're talking about the big boost. You know, you might have heard about the $1.5 trillion in budget, that the Omnibus budget reconciliation bill that was passed by the House. I think it was passed yesterday or today, Wednesday or Thursday. And it's $1.5 trillion. Another 1.5. They had the infrastructure bill. They had the other. They're spending trillions of dollars like crazy. Trillions. And this bill, this just like all the other bills, just like the American Rescue Plan. Remember that one in March where they got the Venmo a $600 reporting requirement without anybody knowing because the bill needed to be passed and it needs to be passed yesterday and nobody has time to read it, so nobody really knows what's in it. Same thing's happening here. They just Congress passed it yesterday. They didn't hold any hearings. There was no talk about it, no debate. They passed the bill and now they say the Senate has to pass it by Saturday. How are they going to? What do you think is in a $1.5 trillion bill? How are they going to spend that money? How many pages do you believe that is? And how are the senators going to read that from now until Saturday morning? The answer is they're not going to read it. They won't know what's in it. We got to pass the bill to find out what's in it, so they won't know what's in it. And I guarantee there's things in here that nobody ever dreamt of. And one of the things that are in there is a big increase to the IRS. That's what they were trying to get with the Build Back Better plan. So they're trying. You know, we heard the surge that the IRS is going to surge. They need to put more people on. They're redirecting people that they have to do more work to get these to overcome this backlog, and they need to hire more people. So I reported a couple of days ago they were going to rehire 10,000 more people, but that's going to take a lot of time. So now. In this new bill, they're going to hire 5,000 this year to help with the backlog because they're going to clear the backlog this year. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. And the 5,000 new people, and so the government is giving them a 6% raise in there. And so let's read some stories about this. There's a couple good stories, and so let's do that. Let's read the stories. Here's the one from Market Watch. The IRS wants to clear its tax return backlog this year. Now it needs to hire more people. IRS lays out plan to hire 10,000 people over the next 2 years, 5,000 this year. Staring at the mound of unprocessed mail and tax returns running in the millions, the Internal Revenue Service said Thursday it got aggressive plans to clear the backlog before 2022 is through. Now it's got to hire all the people to do it. The agency is planning to hire more than 5,000 people this year to work at its 3 processing sites in Austin, Kansas City, and Ogden, Utah. The agency has the authority to directly hire the workers, a move to speed up the bureaucracy that usually comes with federal job hires. Job fairs at the 3 sites begin next week and run through early April. The IRS said Thursday the annual salaries for entry-level positions with no prior tax experience needed range from the low 20s to the upper 40s. In a tight labor market, some observers wonder how many applicants the IRS will get with lower end salaries. It's pretty obvious. The IRS is hoping it's enough. The agency is also reassigning staff in surge teams, which is what we talked about, to help cut the backlog. Okay, so you're going to get people for $20,000 in April, May. Let's say you get them in May and June. What kind of training does that take for them to process tax returns? Is that something you could start the next day? Absolutely not. How long is it going to take? Months. So maybe if we're already talking May, June, that's half the year's already over. So now we're going to go into September before they're qualified, and you're going to clear the backlog by January? Doesn't sound feasible to me. The IRS is planning, to ensure inventory is back to a healthy level for next filing season. We are leaving no stone unturned, taking on all hands on deck approach to ensure as many employees as possible are dedicating time to return processing. This includes bringing on new employees and reassigning current IRS employees to process inventory. As of early February, the tax agency had 23.5 million pieces of inventory, tax returns and correspondence, it had to work through. That includes 5.4 million paper returns received last year and another 3.1 million paper returns this year, according to the account from the IRS's National Taxpayer Advocate. The IRS has been struggling with the backlog during the pandemic as it temporarily closed its offices, distributed 3 rounds of stimulus checks, and one wave of advanced child tax credit payments. The agency did that while handling tax seasons for 2021 and 22 with the workforce that's decreased since 2010. I've explained this over and over again, why it's decreased and why it was rightfully decreased, as well as a budget that's decreased in the same time frame when accounting for inflation. And I've already explained that to you about why it is that it's rightfully gone down. The IRS has almost 82,000 employees, including more than 10,000 temporary and seasonal staff. The House of Representatives passed a $1.5 trillion spending bill late Wednesday that includes $12.6 billion for the IRS's operations during fiscal year 2022. That's not all the money. They get supplemental money that totals $14 billion. That's a $675 million raise from the enacted amount from the IRS for 1 year earlier. The bill funds the government through September 30th, and the Senate has to pass it by the early Saturday morning to avert a government shutdown. The IRS's proposed hiring spree is a major part of its efforts to cut the backlog and ease taxpayer frustration, but it's not the only step. The agency has stopped sending out certain taxpayer notices that would just generate more confusion and more paperwork and more anger. Because people filed on time and the IRS is telling them that they haven't filed and they owe money when they don't. On Thursday, the IRS said it's been using voice and chat bots to try helping people who call the IRS and are on hold. Last year, customer service representatives were only able to answer 11% of the record 282 million calls into the IRS. Excuse me. The English and Spanish language chat and voice bots can assist on questions about topics including one-time payments and collection notices. The IRS says it's planning on more services later this year to give taxpayers an alternative instead of waiting on hold. Next week, the commissioner is scheduled to appear before Congress on how 2022 filing season going. As of late February, the IRS processed 43.8 million returns and issued 29.7 million refunds for a total of for an average of $3,473. Its statistics showed. But those were all electronic returns. It doesn't take a manpower to do electronic returns, or very little. Let's put it that way. Compared to the paper returns, it's nothing compared to the paper returns. So here's another one on the Hill. IRS budget boosted as agency struggles against the tax return backlog. This is a short story. The IRS budget for 2022 is set to receive a 6% increase from the previous year in a $1.5 trillion omnibus spending package as the tax agency faces a pandemic-included backlog of unprocessed tax returns and a staffing shortfall. One of the largest segments of the increase will go to services for taxpayers, which receive $225 million, a 9% annual jump that will help tackle processing delays and unanswered phone calls that have affected tens of millions of Americans. Last year was the most challenging year taxpayers and tax professionals have ever experienced. They have a substantial, and the delays experienced by taxpayers have been substantial and ongoing. Another significant budget boost is a 20% increase for upgrading the IRS's various business systems, which is their information technology system. She said that they are incompatible and need to get out of the age of the dinosaur, and a 4% increase for enforcement capabilities. IRS criminal investigations would receive $21 million for new technology in the spending package, a 40% increase from the previous year. Senate Finance Chairman has advocating for more investigative funding for the IRS in the wake of the Russian military invasion of Ukraine, saying the division has been starved of resources. It's not got nothing to do with Russia. They've been talking about this for many, many years. So any emergency, any reason to bring it up is, we need more money. And no matter what happens, the answer is we need more money. The Department of Justice said the Criminal Investigations Division would be a part of the klepto capture task force designated to enforce sanctions, export restrictions, and economic countermeasures on Russia. So Americans should pay billions of dollars. This unit plays a critical role in going after illicit Russian assets. And Congress needs to give these experts the resources they need for these highly complex investigations. The IRS's expanded budget will also likely pay for around 10,000 new IRS jobs announced earlier this month by the National Treasury Employees Union. The entry-level positions will be in submission processing and accounts, presumably to help address concerns that the agency hiring process is difficult and slow. It is clear that the understaffing of these areas contributes to the backlog and processing of tax returns. None of that is true, because these backlogs really have to do with the people staying home because of COVID and all of the extra jobs because of stimulus checks and child tax credits and the changes in unemployment. That's what all this has to do with. The $12.6 billion allotted to the IRS in the omnibus bill is 7% shy of the $13.6 billion the House has initially asked for. The pandemic forced the IRS to temporarily shut down its processing facilities for the health and safety of employees, said the taxpayer advocate. That in turn caused the IRS to fall behind in inventories, and it is still struggling to catch up. I thought it was because they didn't have enough money, but that's not what she just said. Anyway, this is where it's going. We have to keep an eye on what's on this, because we have to keep an eye on this. They keep spending, they keep shoveling money, and it hasn't helped. I don't know if I don't think this is going to help. It's going to take months and months. They're government employees. It takes months to train them. They can't just walk in and you're going to say that you're going to hire low-level people and they're going to walk in and change everything. That's not going to happen. Anyway, I think, should they concentrate on customer service? The answer is yes. Or should they spend more money on getting the Russians? I don't know. That's a policy decision I think is easy for someone like me to make, because I think that the United States taxpayer deserves it, deserves to be treated well, deserves to get answers when they have questions, and doesn't deserve to stand on the phone and not get 90% of the phone calls not answered. Where do you go? And then they tried the facial recognition and the invasion of our privacy rights if we want to get the answers to simple questions. Anyway, that's where we are today. So thanks so much for joining us today. Now, tomorrow we're on Watch Talk Radio at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We have an immigration attorney on, Dixler, I believe. Dexler. And we're going to talk to him tomorrow. So join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock on watchtalkradio.com or any venue that you see us on, all these platforms that you viewing this. We're on every day. So thanks so much for joining us. Remember, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We need to get more people to watch. We want more people to watch. We want to get this information out because it's that important. We believe it's that important. So we're going to ask your help. Please help us do that. Now, one more thing. I'm going to ask you to, here's the question I ask every day. What's the first thing you should do if you owe the IRS money? You should get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com. freeirsbook.com. That's freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of my book and don't cost nothing. So go to freeirsbook.com. We'd be happy to send you a copy and it'll answer your questions. You may not even need an attorney. That's the goal of the book. Maybe you don't need it, but it also will tell you if you do need an attorney, and then that's also the goal of the book. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you here for the Watch Talk Radio podcast tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thanks for joining us.